The sun was setting over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of amber and crimson. The battlefield stretched as far as the eye could see, a desolate expanse of scarred earth and shattered dreams. Captain Elias Carter stood amidst the chaos, his sword glinting faintly in the dying light. Around him, the remnants of his battalion prepared for what they knew would be their final stand. The war between Eldoria and the neighboring kingdom of Draemond had raged for 7 long years. What began as a dispute over a fertile valley had escalated into a brutal conflict. Elias had seen it all, the glory, the carnage, and the heartbreak. This was not the war of ballads and tales he had imagined in his youth. It was a grim struggle for survival. Elias's battalion had been tasked with defending a critical pass that led directly to the capital. If Draemond's forces broke through, Eldoria's heartland would be exposed. The stakes could not be higher. The enemy's relentless advance had pushed them back to this point, and now, with their backs against the wall, Elias's men had no choice but to hold the line. "Listen up," Elias's voice cut through the murmurs of the soldiers. "This is where we make our stand. Beyond this pass lies everything we fight for. Our homes, our families, our kingdom. They will come at us with everything they have, but we will not falter." The men cheered, though their voices were tinged with fear and exhaustion. They were farmers, blacksmiths, and merchants, thrust into the role of warriors. Many had never held a sword before the war, but desperation and courage had forged them into a formidable force. As the first stars appeared in the twilight sky, the enemy's approach became evident. The sound of marching boots and the clatter of armor echoed through the pass. Draemond's banners, bearing the sigil of a black dragon, loomed ominously in the distance. Elias's men tightened their grips on their weapons, bracing for the inevitable clash. The battle began with the blare of horns and the thunder of war drums. Draemond's infantry surged forward, a tidal wave of steel and fury. Elias shouted commands, his voice rising above the din. Arrows rained down on the advancing enemy, felling dozens, but the tide was relentless. The front lines collided with a deafening crash, and chaos erupted. Elias fought at the forefront, his sword a blur as he parried, struck, and countered. Each movement was precise, honed by years of combat. He felt the strain in his muscles but pushed through, driven by the knowledge that every second he held the line gave the kingdom a chance to survive. Around him, his men fought with a ferocity born of desperation. They were outnumbered, but they were fighting for something far greater than themselves. Hours passed, though it felt like an eternity. The battlefield became a churning sea of blood and mud. The air was thick with the smell of sweat, steel, and death. Elias's arm grew heavy, but he refused to yield. He rallied his men time and again, his voice hoarse from shouting. Amid the chaos, Elias found himself face to face with a Draemondian captain, a towering figure clad in black armor. The man wielded a massive battle-axe with terrifying skill. Their duel was brutal, a clash of strength and precision. Elias dodged a powerful swing, countering with a thrust that glanced off the captain's armor. The captain retaliated with a strike that sent Elias sprawling. Pain shot through Elias's body as he struggled to rise. The captain loomed over him, his axe poised for the killing blow. In that moment, time seemed to slow. Images of his family, his friends, and the kingdom he loved flashed through Elias's mind. Summoning every ounce of strength, he rolled to the side and drove his sword into the captain's unprotected flank. The man let out a roar of pain before collapsing. Elias staggered to his feet, blood dripping from a gash on his forehead. The sight of their fallen leader caused a ripple of hesitation among the Draemondian soldiers. Elias seized the moment, rallying his men for a counterattack. "Push forward! Drive them back!" he shouted, his voice filled with determination.